It started as one of the most powerful stories in music history. Sean "Diddy" Combs, a mogul who shaped a generation, standing on top of the world. But in a twist no one saw coming, that same world turned on him. Now, the courtroom drama unfolding around Diddy has become something even more surreal than his fame itself. A stage packed with celebrities, secrets, and shocking claims. From chart-topping legends to unexpected household names, this trial is dragging everyone into its orbit. And the details? Some are so wild, they left even the most jaded reporters speechless. So how did a music icon, once surrounded by admiration and luxury, end up on trial, facing accusations so dark they seemed ripped from a movie script? And what about the celebrities whose names were dragged into the chaos, whether they wanted it or not? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll hear exactly why Ye showed up to support him, why Kid Cudi testified in front of a stunned courtroom, and how a bizarre swirl of rumors, accusations, and untold party stories tied dozens of superstars to one of the most high-profile criminal trials in hip-hop history. This is the inside story of Diddy's fall, and the jaw-dropping roll call of celebrities who found themselves tangled in the mess, whether through a chance encounter or years of knowing the man behind the empire. And trust me, what you're about to hear might just change how you see your favorite stars forever. Sean "Diddy" Combs was never just another rapper or producer. He was a cultural movement. From launching the careers of some of the biggest names in hip-hop to ruling red carpets, Diddy built an empire so large that it seemed untouchable. Parties that redefined excess, clothing lines that shaped trends, a personal brand that seemed bigger than music itself. For decades, Diddy was the king of cool. But that carefully crafted world came crashing down when he was hit with some of the most serious allegations imaginable: sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and even transporting women across state lines for prostitution. The headlines spread like wildfire, feeding an insatiable public curiosity. After all, how could someone so powerful, so beloved, end up fighting for his freedom in front of the world? The trial itself became an event, bigger than many of Diddy's own concerts, because of the man at its center. For fans and haters alike, the case represented a moment of reckoning for a celebrity who seemed beyond accountability. And while the charges were enough to shock the world, there was something else that made this courtroom drama even more irresistible. The stunning list of celebrities who found themselves tied to Diddy's legal nightmare. Because the moment those courtroom doors opened, the story turned from a criminal trial into a pop culture circus. Big names, bold faces, and whispered rumors from decades of celebrity parties. Suddenly, they were all on the record. The jury might have been there to judge Diddy, but the world was there to witness the collision of fame, power, and scandal. And the first hints of how truly surreal it would become started with the faces showing up inside that courtroom. If there was one thing Diddy's empire was known for, it was parties. The kind that blurred the line between legend and myth. Inside that courtroom, those same stories resurfaced in testimony that felt pulled from the pages of a gossip column. Witnesses described nights alongside icons like Prince, Stevie Wonder, and even boxing legend Muhammad Ali. There were whispered memories of Rita Ora mingling with the biggest names in music, wrapped in an atmosphere of power, pleasure, and sometimes fear. But beneath the star-studded glow, darker details emerged. Witnesses testified about Diddy forcing girlfriends into what they called freak-offs, with escorts, allegedly mixing violence and pleasure in ways that left them scarred. Defense attorneys pushed back hard on these claims, but the stories alone sent shockwaves through pop culture. Reporters tried to keep a straight face when they heard about Diddy's supposed ecstasy pills, shaped like Barack Obama's face. That bizarre detail alone became the talk of social media for days, with memes and commentary flooding every corner of the internet. And then there was the eerie loyalty to Biggie Smalls, with testimony describing how Diddy gave his entire staff a paid holiday every year on Biggie's birthday. That part almost felt sweet until you remembered how much else was happening behind the scenes. Over and over, the trial forced a question no one wanted to answer. What really went on at those parties, behind the velvet rope? And were the celebrities in attendance truly unaware or just unwilling to look too closely? But the party stories were just the beginning, because the people who worked for Diddy, the ones who had seen everything from backstage, were about to take the stand. And what they revealed would turn the entire courtroom on its head. When the party lights went out, it was the employees who were left to clean up the mess. And in court, their stories painted a picture even wilder than the celebrity cameos. One former assistant, known only as Mia, took the stand and described a relationship that left jurors speechless. She testified that Diddy had abused her, manipulating her emotionally and physically over years of employment. In a text read aloud in court, Mia described a haunting nightmare about being trapped in an elevator with disgraced singer R. Kelly and Diddy coming to rescue her. The text sounded more like a twisted cry for help than a bad dream. But Mia's story didn't stop there. She told jurors about Diddy's alleged drug habits, not just weed, but Molly, ketamine, prescription pills, and how those habits sometimes bled into business meetings. One moment stood out. She claimed Diddy was so high during a Chelsea Handler show that the comedian herself had to pull him aside and tell him, "You look a little crazy right now." That revelation sent a ripple of disbelief through the courtroom. Then came the allegations of public humiliation, manipulation, and forced sexual encounters. Defense attorneys tried to break down Mia's testimony, calling it exaggerated and unreliable. But the damage was already done. The mental image of a powerful music mogul staggering through business deals, high and out of control, was impossible to ignore. And just when jurors thought they'd heard the worst, another former employee stepped up with a string of texts and voicemails even more shocking. From veiled threats to bizarre party demands, these records turned the trial from a legal proceeding into a public confessional. Yet somehow, even those jaw-dropping revelations were only scratching the surface. Because next, the court would read through messages so tangled in fame and fortune that they made even the wildest party stories sound tame. When jurors heard the next batch of messages, you could feel the shock in the room. Mia had poured out memories of partying with Leonardo DiCaprio, recalling a high-stakes poker night in Paris, where Diddy bragged about winning $650,000, while DiCaprio barely scraped 10 grand. It sounded more like a movie script than reality, but the court saw the messages with their own eyes. Then there was the mention of Chadwick Boseman, who had just passed away in 2020. Mia texted Diddy that she was thinking of him in connection with Boseman's role as James Brown, a part Diddy had once auditioned for. It was a strange, almost haunting reference that showed just how close Diddy believed he was to Hollywood's biggest stars. Brad Pitt's name showed up too, in testimony about a heated argument at the Cannes premiere of Killing Them Softly. Mia described Diddy allegedly digging his fingernails into Cassie's arm, forcing her to leave the event. Again, defense lawyers tried to dismiss it, but the images stuck with the jury. Other texts compared Diddy's girlfriends to Pamela Anderson and Carmen Electra, complete with flirty emojis, while Jane, another ex, testified about a twisted set of nicknames the couple used. They called each other Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street, and even named themselves after NBA icons. She was Kobe Bryant, Diddy was Michael Jordan, and one of their hired escorts played Shaquille O'Neal in what they called the trifecta. The language was bizarre and unsettling, leaving jurors to wonder what was performance and what was real. Photos shown by the defense brought even more famous faces into the courtroom, like Keke Palmer, who had simply appeared in a group snapshot at a party but found herself name-checked all the same. Through every message and every detail, the picture of Diddy's life became clearer. A world where celebrity status was currency and where boundaries blurred between private and public in ways that seemed unimaginable to anyone outside that circle. But the strangest twist of all, there was still more celebrity drama waiting to surface, especially the rumors about jealousy, love triangles, and one particular singer who turned the case upside down. This trial has done more than just air allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. It's ripped back the velvet curtain on a hidden world where fame and power blur the lines between glamour and darkness. Behind the glitz of red carpets and chart-topping hits lies a tangled web of secrets, alliances, and betrayals involving some of the biggest names in entertainment. As the jury prepares to deliver their verdict, one thing is clear. The fallout will echo far beyond the courtroom. It's a stark reminder that celebrity status can shield, but it can't erase the shadows lurking beneath. What comes next could change everything we think we know about this star-studded empire.